I get angry when I listen to him because what he's saying is the truth. I don't know about the global warming thing. I know our world is changing. What the cause is, I do believe there's reason to think that there could be a balance of, yes, our planet is coming in a different way. We have had ice stages, but we do have incredible pollution that needs to be attended to. So that's not the issue. What I get upset with him is when he blames it on the Great Society. Because if you go to where that change started happening in the 60s, we had a president that talked to us about what was going on with our money at that time. Let's hope this comes out clearly.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. We now stand 10 years past the midpoint of a century that has witnessed 4 major wars among great nations. Until the latest of our world conflicts, the United States had no armaments industry. American makers of plowshares could, with time and as required, make swords as well. But we can no longer risk emergency improvisation of national defense. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. Added to this, 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment. Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
Okay, the birth of the phrase military-industrial complex. Military, everything that we tie our money value to is always tied to military. It has been since World War II. Our deals with our allies and the Bretton Woods Agreement that made the dollar a reserve currency was tied to protecting them militarily. Our deal with OPEC was tied to military protection of the Saudi family. So I say, what are we fighting for? I mean, I know that was the big hippie thing, but really, what are we fighting for? Because it certainly isn't we, the American people, and our ideals. And Glenn Beck, he's talking about never happened before. Bull. Just go look at Weimar Germany. It's exactly what happened to Weimar Germany the last time that we've had this kind of capitalism crisis. And capitalism is set up for this kind of crisis. I'm not anti-capitalism, but I am anti-central bank capitalism. I want us to write to our congressmen, write to our government, make a lot of noise about getting back to decentralize it. Decentralize it. Obama, you're talking about reconfiguration. We are reconfiguring. Decentralize it. But guess what? Federal Reserve is not federal. It's private. Our Congress has no authority over what they choose to do. All they can do is give them the right to exist or not the right to exist. Here's one of my favorite voices for stable money, getting back to who we're supposed to be. It's Ron Paul.